Hi, welcome to another edition of Legal Quilts. We're getting the one that we should have had 2 weeks ago when I had COVID. So what we're getting is how to make a quilt doing the Irish chain. We're going to sew the top together. Thank you for everybody for sitting through the silent video. Thank you for all the well wishes. I appreciate it. Wasn't really a big deal except for the laryngitis made making a video a little hard. I'm still coughing a bit. Let's see if I can get through this without a cough. But I'm very grateful that it was mild because I'm vaxxed and double boosted. Please get vaxxed and get your boosters, especially if you're high risk. So we're back to making a quilt, and as you know, we've got our block 1. That back a little bit. Block 1, which is the multi-blocks, and our block 2 with our nice pattern in the back so that you can see it, okay? And I put a layout at the beginning and I'm gonna put it at the end. So lay your quilt out like that. And the basic way to remember this is you alternate blocks. Block 1, block 2, block 1, block 2. Across your row, and then the next row is block 2, block 1, block 2, block 1, and you just keep alternating down. Now for the lap size that we're making, it's 5 blocks across by 7 down, so you're going to have 7 rows. We'll talk about that when we get to it. Okay, so, and you're going to work left to right. Now there's a lot of ways you can do this. I like to have it all laid out on the floor, then pick up each row with the first block on top and then down. If you have a design wall, you can put it on your design wall and take them down as you do it. I don't have room for a design wall, so I don't have one. So and then when you're done with your row, you lay it down, and then like I said, I'll talk about the rows in a minute. Right now, you take your first block, put it on the bottom. So that's block 1 because we're on the first row, and then you lay block 2 on top of it, and you just sew that with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Just sew that down. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, sew down. By block. And then you take your third block, which would be block 1 again, and you lay that on top of block 2. Now be very careful that your dark, your number 1 fabric, matches your number 1 fabric here. So you want your number 1s touching each other. Otherwise, the pattern doesn't work. That's why it's very important. Have your layout, see what it looks like. Remember, it's always alternating block 1, block 2. It seems fussy, but it's not really. But you want to get it right so that your pattern looks right, okay? And always you put your longer piece on the bottom so that the weight goes on the bottom and it doesn't distort things as you're trying to match your edges here. Okay. Oh, and I skipped this step because I kind of did it last night before video. Square up your blocks and make sure they're the correct size. I found out because I did my number 1s on 2 different machines that I was slightly off on some sizes there. Actually, it might have been 3 different machines. So, I squared them up to 10.5 inches, okay? 10.5 by 10.5. I just squared them up. There's videos out there about how to square something up. There we go. Still learn how to use that pre-cut feature. Then block 4, which is block 2 again. Again, laying it on top. And I know we're getting really close to the camera here. Let me see if I can move that a little bit. Still doing my own camera work. There we go. So you want to square those up so that it all matches nice, because part of this pattern, which you'll see when you look at the picture, although it's the laid out, not sewn together picture, so there's some spaces, you can see the carpet in there and stuff. But you can start to see where the double chain is, and it looks really cool. So, keep going, and then and whoops, I probably took care of, let's see here, I'm still beating up on the camera here. And then you do block 5. Like I said, this one is 5 by 5. Again, being careful. The good thing is it's symmetrical on all 4 sides, but you want to keep your camera, you want to keep your dark ones with your dark, your fabric 1, whichever one that is, on block 1 matched with your fabric 1 on block 2. Okay? And don't worry if you mess it up. Hopefully you catch it before you've gone too far, and then you can whip out your good friend, which I'm hiding somewhere, your good friend, the stitch ripper. I've already had to do that when I was getting this all ready. But that's okay. But we all have our stitch rippers. We all use them. It's okay. So we get this done. All right, so you've got your row done. This is row 1. Now the important thing also is to keep track of your rows. You want row 1 on the top, and then row 2, as you can see, again going left to right, fortunately they're symmetrical, starts with block 2, block 1, so on and so on. Now to make sure you keep your blocks in the right order so that you don't wind up with 2 block 1s next to each other, I like to lay out the whole thing, matching your ends up somewhat, and then flip your first one over flip row 1 onto row 2, matching up your corners and your edges there, and then you just sew the row. Okay? And sew your row. So this is after you've put you sew all your rows, sew all the blocks into your rows. So you've got 7 rows of 5 blocks each, or whatever size quilt you're making. This is lap quilt size. Sew these together. Okay, and you just sew it down. Again, keep your number 1 fabrics next to your number 1s, okay? And we all do it. We tug and fold and bend and pray to keep your lines straight, okay? Do something a little different. Usually it's going off the end here, but okay. And we just keep sewing until this is all done. And this will be your first 2 rows together, okay? So you just sew it all the way down, making sure your fabric 1s and your fabric 1s match each other because you want the pattern done, okay? And that's it. I'm going to turn this a little bit so we get a better picture. Okay. And that's your rows, okay? Rows 1 and 2 sewn together. Again, row 1, row 2, and you've sewn them together into the whole length, and you can start to see the design a little bit. Now with this, you've got 7 rows. I do not recommend laying, then doing row 3 on this and row 4 through row 7, because it'll just get too heavy. What you do is you sew row 1 and 2, rows 6 and 7, and 4 and 5, and sew row 3 to 1 and 2, okay? And then sew those 2 of them together, okay? The section 3 and section 4, flip the 1 through 3 rows onto 4, 5, 6, 7. Just flip them over and sew down that, and then your top is all together. Next time we're going to do borders. We're going to put the borders on, and then the top is done, and we get to move on to all the other fun stuff. So that's it for this edition of Legal Quilts. The QR code is at the end. Everything's up on the website, so please visit to see all the things I already have for sale. Visit the Ko-fi page and donate if you are able, so that you can keep, so I can keep making these videos. Always like, share, comment. The more engagement I get, the better. So please, if you're not in a position to financially support, sharing's free and always greatly appreciated. So until next time, until the next edition of Legal Quilts, not next time will we do the borders. The next time we get back to making a quilt. Next time I have something very special that you all can help me with. So in 2 weeks, watch out for something special. And until then, have fun quilting. Remember, quilting should be fun. Take care.